Today we're going to make a race car that goes in a straight line. We're only going to use 2 motors, but the interesting thing about this car is that one motor has to turn 2 of the wheels and the other motor has to turn the other 2 wheels. So it's kind of like a 4-wheel drive. We're making a car with 2 motors and 4 wheels, and all 4 wheels are going to be turned by motors. And we're also going to race them. Can you do that? Here's some rules and tips. So we're going to make one wheel turn the other 2, and we're going to use a cog in the middle of 2 other cogs to make this happen. So we need the motor to turn one of these cogs, and then that's going to turn the other cogs. And I just use a frame like this and attach it to a motor. So one of the cogs is plugged into the motor using a red axle, and then I added the hub by attaching the motor to the hub first, and then after the motor was attached to the hub, I could secure the frame by using a couple of those longer blue pins. 2 of the pins hold the frame in place, and then the actual wheel with the cog on it holds the other one in place. But we have to use some little bushes on the other side to hold each wheel in place. Sometimes the wheels rub a little bit on cogs, so sometimes it's good to use little tiny yellow bushes between the wheels and the cogs. But basically I just had to secure this to the hub by using some biscuits. You can use whatever you like to secure things. Sometimes beams do the job, but the goal is always to make a vehicle that's nice and strong and secure, so the wheels and cogs don't wobble. So anything you can add to your robot to make it secure makes it better. In this case, I just used a couple of biscuits, like 3 biscuits all joined together. And then I thought, I just need to do exactly the same thing on the other side. But before I did, I wanted to test it out. I plugged it into the hub, and in the heart mode, I tested it, and it was good because I could see that both wheels are turning in the same direction. The key to using cogs is, if you want the wheels and motors to continue going in the same direction, then you need to use an odd number of cogs. In this case I've got 3. So I just proceeded to do the same thing on the exact other side. I did exactly the same thing on the other side by trying to make it as symmetrical as possible. And I just did this by looking at what I'd already made. Yours could end up completely different, and I imagine it will, because I'm not giving you instructions for this, I'm just showing you how I did it. But ultimately, everyone's car will probably look a little bit different, and you can use as many cogs as you like. I first tried doing it with 5 cogs, and that was okay, but I think 3 cogs is more efficient. So I made it symmetrical. I just copied it directly on the opposite side, and so when you make one side of your robot, just do exactly the same on the other side, and then this side will control the 2 left-hand wheels after we've already got 2 right-hand wheels sorted out. So it's good to secure wheels with bushes. Sometimes I even use 2 bushes, and that makes it so the wheels just don't fall off. You don't want your wheels falling off, that's for sure. So now it's starting to look like the opposite side. I just got to put the cog in the middle. I had to take the wheel off to put the cog back on, so that was a bit silly, but anyway, I put the cog in the middle and then I could put the wheel back on. And the cog kind of just gets held there in place. I don't even use a bush on the other side, I don't think, because the cog will just gets held in place by the wheels. And I proceeded to make it look exactly like the opposite side, even coming down to the same bushes and everything. If your car's symmetrical, it will go straighter, but in a minute I'm going to show you how to make it go straight anyway, just by coating it. So I added the beam to the front or back. You can make it go either way, and that just made it all nice and solid. Then I plugged my motors into C and D, making sure that my cables wouldn't get tangled in the cogs. It's really important that your cables don't get tangled. Then I put it back in heart mode, just so I could test the motors. If you put them in C and D or put them in opposite letters, then they'll act like movement motors, and it seemed to be working really well. So it's time to test it out by chucking some obstacles in the way. Can it climb over them? Yes, it can. That's doing pretty well. It's a pretty cool little car, this one. Yours might be a lot bigger. You might even use big wheels. It's up to you. Be more like a monster truck if you use big wheels. So on my lounge room floor, I chucked a whole tub full of Lego with the goal that we might have a bit of a race across the Lego. Sometimes it worked straight across and it was fine. This is just in heart mode. But other times it would get a bit lost. And the Lego bricks would alter its direction and it would get stuck. So I decided to use the gyro sensor built into the hub, and we're going to deal with the yaw today, which looks at how many degrees it can turn left and right and correct itself. So after I adjusted the code, which I'll show you in a minute, no matter which angle I put it on, if the robot was running, it would end up going straight. And so if it got a bit detoured by some bricks, it would straighten up. So that was pretty cool, just by using the gyro. Even if I put it on really crooked at the start, if the program was running, it would end up going straight over the bricks, straight ahead in a straight line. So I'm going to show you how to code it now. So today we're going to use a gyro sensor. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the yaw angle to 0. So we're going to grab a block from the blue sensors tab and say set yaw angle to 0. That means it's going to be facing straight ahead, and we're going to make it keep going straight ahead. Then we're going to grab set movement motors. Now when I built my robot, I plugged my motors into C and D today. You can plug them into any ports you like, just make sure they match on the code here. And after we set the movement motors, we're going to set the speed. So I recommend that we go 100%. We're trying to go as fast as we can from the start line to the finish line. There's no point going faster than 100. And then this is where you're going to go start moving straight. Now, if you just say start moving straight, the gyro sensor is not doing anything. So we're going to use that straight pill area to put in a green pill from the operators tab. So grab the green pill that has an asterisk in it, like a multiplication sign, an asterisk, put it in there. And inside the left-hand part of the pill, we're going to grab a blue sensors one, that change it from pitch to yaw and put it in there. And then we're going to multiply that by -1. Now it's a little complicated to look at. Basically it means that if it's positive, it's going to start heading towards negative. And if it's negative, it's going to start heading towards positive. And we're going to grab the forever loop and put that on the outside. Then we just explain it a little bit more about the yaw angle. Whenever the robot is moving to the left, there is a negative yaw angle, and it might be -10 degrees. If it's moving to the right, it's a positive yaw angle, and if it's going straight ahead, it'll be 0. Because we set it to 0 to start with, it's going to go straight ahead. But this little block here means that no matter what the yaw angle is, it's going to times it or multiply it by -1, which means if it was +10, then it's multiplied by -1, which makes it -10. So it's going to head towards -10. But if it's heading towards -10, it's going to multiply that by -1. So it's going to head towards +10, and it's going to balance out in the middle. Therefore, always go straight ahead, because that's the direction we started with when yaw was 0. You can choose to pause the video now and see the rules, or hang around for the teacher instructions. So I just used a roll of painter's tape, or we call it masking tape, and you just got to make a finish line and a start line that need to be parallel to each other. Mine aren't very far apart, like about 1 meter and a bit, but you could make yours, I don't know, up to 3 meters apart if you really wanted to do some pretty crazy races. So once the tape was down, I just used a tub full of my spare parts and I made it spread across the floor so it was a deliberate obstacle for the 4-wheel drives. And then once you've set that up, it should be ready to go. You can test it using the heart mode, and the kids can be encouraged to do this, and it might work sometimes, but often it won't work in the heart mode because we need to code it to use the gyro sensor so it goes straight every time. So once you've got it all down and you can race, then you could actually use one of my spreadsheets to score. I recommend one-on-one racing, then you don't have to have a massive track with lots of Lego. So if you want to make it a bit like a tennis tournament, you can use that, or you could try by multiple battles with a ladder where kids could just either battle each other randomly in their teams, in other words race each other randomly whenever they're ready to race, and it gives them a ladder, or you can also use a tab at the bottom to have more of an even amount of battles. So here's my spreadsheets. Make sure you check out the link in the description for those. And here's a shout out to my members. I'm not sure these videos would even exist without these members. So thanks guys, thanks for joining my channel and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And if you like this lesson, check out this other one that's been really popular.